Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're talking about the Imperial Royal Guard, the Guardians in red, standing out amongst the white and black of traditional Imperial colors and really being that contrasting and threatening force, the most elite of the Emperor's Guard and the Guardian units of the Empire in Star Wars Legion. If you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment that's going to automatically enter you to win that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. It's as simple as that. Also, be sure to check the links in the description below. Join Discord, follow me on social media, all of that other stuff. All right. So we're going to be talking about these guys today, specifically as they apply to Star Wars Legion, because this was one of the earlier units that came out. They came out with Emperor Palpatine, and they've kind of been bypassed by a lot of other Special Forces units that have come out in Star Wars Legion. So on your tabletop, you're not really seeing as much beautiful red or maybe alternate paint schemes as we've seen before. And I kind of want to talk about how and where we might see some help or some potential upgrades and things like that coming to the Emperor's Royal Guard, or the Imperial Royal Guard as they are known in Star Wars Legion more commonly. You know, the term is somewhat interchangeable, don't you think? But yes, so I want to talk about these guys because, you know, we've seen some other things. We've seen some, similar units like the Wookiees get some upgrades, and, there's been new heavies. And wouldn't it be cool if at some point we saw some specific Royal Guards, Kir Kanos or Karn Jax kind of show up to be like named heavies that could go into this unit? Like, I would love, love, love to see that, even if they could not call it by those names. If you guys remember, there was once a game called Imperial Assault. Well, it still exists, but it doesn't really see reprints anymore. But initially, Kir Kanos was supposed to be in that game, and they had to change him because this game was being made and being finalized right at the time of the Disney buyout of Lucasfilm. And so, to coincide with Legends kind of going away, this was one of the changes that was made to say he was changed to be Royal Guard Champion. So I would be okay even if in Star Wars Legion they were to come out with a Royal Guard Champion. That could be perhaps its own standalone unit, maybe an operative that kind of functions in a lot of ways that the Royal Guard maybe do, but perhaps better, or potentially as its own heavy weapon equivalent to go into an Imperial Royal Guard unit. I think both of those would be fantastic options for the Imperial Royal Guard, allowing them to have maybe more of a standoutish or distinct type of heavy weapon option. But I think also thematically and canonically, they might not want to have too many varying or different options for Imperial Royal Guard, because they tend to serve a little bit more of a singular purpose. Now, they also are known to fly those red interceptors. So there's there's definitely pilot capability, and so they're not just a one-trick pony by any means. They're definitely elite fighting corps, but I think thematically they might not want them to be have like sniper rifles and things like that, and they would probably want to keep them largely with the force pikes. But the fact that the EU gave us so much for these guys, and the fact that at least it was partially carried over because of that whole Royal Guard Champion thing in Star Wars Imperial Assault, I feel like there's potential to get some new heavy weapon options. We did just see, to coincide with what's coming out, that the Wookiees that originally came out in the Rebels to kind of mirror the IRG. They are getting a new heavy now with this next Kashyyyk wave for the Clone Wars versions of Star Wars Legion. And of course, this is going to be, multi-faction unit that can go into your clone Wookiees or also go into your rebel Wookiees. So basically, Wookiees kind of had a similar thing for a while. And of course, points get adjusted, and sometimes there's errata and things like that. But the Wookiees are getting a whole new heavy option. They have their bowcaster Wookiee they can use. Now they've got a shield Wookiee. It's really cool. It's actually especially cool. So are they going to do something like this? Well, I don't think they're going to do something like Kir Kanos or Karn Jax or something like that happening, or Royal Guard Champion. I don't think that's going to happen right now, because it just doesn't match up to what we know is coming out in the Kashyyyk wave. All of that has been spoiled already, and so I don't really expect we're going to see a new heavy weapon option for the Imperial Royal Guard right now. But what we do have, something a little bit different, right? We got the Magna Guards that are coming out. Now, these aren't the same thing. I don't expect this to be a completely symmetric type of release style, a completely symmetric type of upgrade. Like this is going to be a separatist unit. You're not going to see, at least I don't think you're going to see, a specialty Magna Guard that also can go into, the Imperial Royal Guard. I don't think that that's something that we're going to see. It just seems, it would be so non-thematic, unless of course some book that just came out that shows a Magna Guard, put on some red robes and founded the Imperial Royal Guard and was Palpatine's, secret droid buddy. Who knows? Maybe that's going to be the next book, out of what they're doing. I have no idea, but I seriously doubt it. But there's other ways I think they could do something like this, and I think one pretty cool option is I think a lot of us expect the Magna Guard in a lot of ways to mirror the Imperial Royal Guard. We know that they're going to, we know that they're going to have certain things. They're going to have some AI. They're going to be able to their Guardian ability is only going to be able to work on commanders, right? So that's one big difference that they talked about during, the last big live stream event. We got little previews, kind of hints about certain things. But other than that, I do expect them to work in a lot of ways very similar to how the Imperial Royal Guards were initially intended to work. Now, that's all fine and good, and that's kind of how I expect things to work. But I think the Imperial Royal Guard's upgrade capabilities give us some different potential that might kind of lead us in new directions. One potential way to do that might be upgrades that are not heavy weapon related that can work in both the Magna Guards and the Imperial Royal Guards. I think the biggest and most likely way we're going to see this is through training upgrades. Those are already pretty much restricted to mostly special forces with a few other exceptions. But usually special forces tend to have training, but you can even further restrict it by making it Magna Guard only or Royal Guard only. Magna Guard and Royal Guard only for certain training upgrades. That would be a great way to kind of have some type of, call it robes, like synthweave robe. Well, I guess that would be more of an equipment, wouldn't it? And that's another way to go. But maybe an enhanced guardianship. You could even make this a training. So here's one thing that I would like to see. I would like to see a training upgrade that just says that improves Guardian, improves the Guardian ability. Now, that doesn't have to be Magna Guard only, because it would be useless to run it on somebody that does not have Guardian. And of course, unless you need to future-proof it against, other upgrades that potentially give Guardian. There's already a command card. There's already other cards that can potentially give Guardian. But I don't think I'm not sure if it's totally broken if you work all these things out. But the idea here is maybe you have a training upgrade that increases the range of Guardian by 1, perhaps. That's interesting. I think that's pretty cool. That could potentially make Imperial Royal Guards better, while also giving the Magna Guards some card that's kind of cool that happens to also come with them. That would do a little more than just help the Imperial Royal Guards, though. It would also help some units like Chewbacca potentially get a little bit of bonus, which could be a pretty good thing. I kind of like that. And that could be, just advanced Guardian training. It could be something as simple as that. It's kind of a generic type of name that sounds like that's what that would do. Maybe it could be long-range Guardians, escort detail, Royal Guard training, something like that. You could call all of those things. You could also restrict it to specific units if you needed to. There are ways to have certain core that can gain training upgrades, like Imperial veterans and Rebel veterans and things like that can potentially get those. So exist some other combinations to exploit things if it's unrestricted. So you just have to think about different ways to improve this without letting, core potentially take advantage of it through a certain other combinations, and also command cards that can potentially give Guardian to other people through too. Another thing that would be pretty cool, I think, is maybe an equipment, synthweave robes or something like that. That would be thematically would make sense for both IRG and Magna Guard. Some kind of robes, and it could say, when a unit uses Guardian, you may exhaust this card and can the first damage that they Guardian they don't actually have to take or something like that. Basically, like they get like one Guardian shot per turn free. Like that would be really cool. That might be a little too strong, but something along those lines, like some kind of way to make that first damage kind of soak a little bit, mitigate that armor. So basically upgraded armor for your Guardians. So if they hold out the arm to kind of deflect you, and maybe you just change it a little bit to say they can Guardian crits now instead of just hits. Like that also would be something potentially really nice, actually. And that might be, too broken also. These are just rough ideas, not necessarily play-tested ideas, right? But they're different ways to approach, making Imperial Royal Guards, stand out a little bit more, maybe see a little bit more use. In light of all the different special forces available to the Empire now, especially with things like Death Troopers and Inferno Squad being available, plus snipers and all these other special forces options, we're getting kind of tough competition for that slot, right? And with Magna Guard coming out, it just seems like it's a perfect option. But there's another option too, or at least another approach that I think gives Imperial Royal Guards a little bit of specialty. And so this isn't a specific card that I have in mind, but more of just a design approach. Palpatine has Entourage Imperial Royal Guard. And it's cool that he can give one an order for free, and that's certainly nice. They have Disciplined, and Disciplined it's all right. People don't often shoot the Royal Guards directly, though, because they're not as much of a long-range threat. But one of the things that you do have is the ability to use Entourage to ignore the army build limit. And I feel like there's one thing that I initially thought of, and that's when this was first revealed, is like, you can have an Imperial Royal Guard in addition to your 3 special forces, which means you can have 4 Imperial Royal Guard in a build. But I don't think people ever really want to do that. And so that's kind of something that I think would be a fun way, and maybe a semi-realistic way for them to think about an approach. Obviously, whatever approach they are going to do is something that's already been thought about because, heck, the Magna Guard have already been announced, which means their expansion's already designed and probably on the boats or at the printing presses as we speak. So, it's not like they need to design it now. But wouldn't it be cool if there is an Imperial Royal Guard fix, and whatever fix it is, if it made people say, boy, I really want to run 4 IRG now. Wouldn't that be wild? I'm not sure exactly how you do that. It could be that maybe there's an upgrade that allows you to Guardian other Guardians, or maybe a multipliers, like if for each different unit that Guardians on a turn, everybody gets to start with an extra dodge or aim or surge token on the next turn or something like that. Maybe troopers that have Guardian gain the ability to share tokens, kind of similar to the clone token sharing rule, right? Maybe Imperial Royal Guards get to start with Surge. Surge would really help them. That's one thing I think Surge tokens would really, really help Imperial Royal Guard. And that might be a very, very common sense, easy way to do Imperial Royal Guards, especially for it to be a fix that comes with Magna Guards, because Clone Wars units already generally tend to require Surge tokens. There's a lot of Surge capability in those factions. You don't see as much Surge capability in the Rebels and Empire because not that many units really benefit from it. But boy, oh boy, if the IRG aren't a unit that could seriously benefit from having Surge. I mean, with Disciplined Red Defense die already, they can just ignore hits. I mean, what if they had immune to Pierce and Surge, or something like that. I mean, they can already kind of get immune to Pierce too if they have the heavy weapon guy and then they get into a melee. But what if they had the ability to be immune to ranged Pierce? Maybe it was an exhaustible that gives them immune to Pierce, for one ranged attack, once per turn. I mean, that'd be incredible. Again, I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure if that would be enough to make you want to run 4 Imperial Royal Guards, but I think if you had Imperial Royal Guards that automatically had surge tokens and the ability to share surge tokens with each other, maybe not aims and dodges. I don't want to go full blown clone here, but if they could share surge, because they're all part of an elite corps, so thematically it might make sense that they all attended the same training, that they have kind of a brotherhood amongst themselves, and a certain type of bond with that red cloth. I think the ability to share surge tokens would be really cool. Might make you consider running multiple Imperial Royal Guards. This way, they stay together. The more you have, the more surge tokens you have available, and then they can share them. They can use them for attack or defense. You can use them to help keep Palpatine alive if you wanted to run Palp and 4 IRG. You'd have a pretty nasty threat there if they each had 2 surge tokens each on a turn and could share them. That'd be nuts. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know if I mean, you wouldn't have to, because even 3 would still be good, but or even 2 would still be. I mean, even a single IRG, having some surge tokens without having to alter your builds to do something special to give out surge tokens, and that's really the problem, is there's so few units in both the Rebels and the Empire that really need surge tokens, that usually you don't run aggressive tactics or specific strategies designed to hand out surge, whereas in the clones and the Republic, it makes a lot more sense to run a specific strategy that's designed to hand out surge, and bonus surge is also good too. So I think that's a realistic thing. I think if we were able to see maybe a training upgrade that gave free surge, that'd be helpful to a Royal Guard. Maybe you gain surge tokens equal to your Guardian number. Wouldn't that be cool? Right? Wouldn't that be cool? That would make each IRG get 2 surge tokens at the beginning of each turn. Like, I think that's a really cool idea. I want to hear what you guys think, though. Let me know down in the comments section. Would that be enough to make you consider running Palpatine with 4 Imperial Royal Guards? I mean, you wouldn't have very long range. You wouldn't have reach in that build, but there are stormtroopers that have some respectable range now, so it could definitely work. Plus, you got your shore troopers that have the range covered, right? You don't need the death troopers necessarily. I think it'd be fun, and it'd be a very thematic thing to be able to run too. I think it'd be a blast. But I want to hear what you guys think. You also might not have to run the heavy with those Imperial Royal Guards too. Although I don't think you have to run it anyway. Usually people run these guys just for Guardian. And maybe that's a whole different direction. Maybe they go away maybe they lean away from Guardian. Maybe they make them, maybe a training that says you lose Guardian and gain something else. But it only can go to a unit that has Guardian. Maybe the requirement is unit must have Guardian. So this way Chewbacca could also take it. I think there's a great opportunity for any cards that come with the Magna Guard to be able to help Imperial Royal Guards and Chewbacca, as a matter of fact. I think that's a pretty cool thing, and I wouldn't mind seeing it. But again, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments section. Also, if you haven't already, join Discord, follow me on social media, click the links down in the description below. We got all kinds of merchandise down there. You can check that stuff out. We've got links if you want to also check out Patreon. The link for all of that stuff is down there. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and sticking with me. I will talk to you guys soon. Be on the lookout for Double Critical coming out Sunday. I will talk to you guys later. And as always, have a great day.